All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle one of those super frustrating user experience problems in iOS, and I'm going to show you how to solve it really elegantly with a powerful built-in feature you might not even know you have. So, first things first, let's set the stage. We need to really understand the exact problem we're trying to solve here. I like to call it the vanishing screen problem, and I can pretty much guarantee you've run into this, both as a developer and just as a user. I mean, think about it. Have you ever been, way deep in an app? Maybe you're scrolling through an article or tweaking a setting, and you just quickly switch over to answer a text? When you come back, poof, the app has completely restarted. You're right back at the home screen. It's so jarring, right?
And that is exactly the frustrating journey we're talking about. A user goes from their home screen to some detail screen. Then, the system, maybe it just gets a little hungry for memory, decides to terminate your app in the background. The user, expecting to be right where they left off, relaunches it, and they're thrown all the way back to the beginning. It's just a completely broken experience.
But here's the good news. It really doesn't have to be this way. Apple gives us this incredible solution baked right into UIKit, and it's called state restoration. So what is this thing? Well, to put it simply, state restoration is an iOS feature that gives your app a kind of memory. It lets it remember its navigation, its UI state, even after it's been completely shut down by the system. And that's really the whole point. It's all about the user. The goal here is to bring them back to exactly where they were, making the whole thing feel seamless, like nothing ever went wrong. Now, you might be thinking this sounds like magic, but it's not. The way state restoration works is more like a partnership. It's this really cool collaboration between UIKit and your own code. And in this partnership, everyone has their job. UIKit, it does all the heavy lifting, right? It handles rebuilding the entire navigation stack, and it knows when to ask your app for the pieces it needs. Your role? It's actually pretty simple. You just have to give your view controllers a unique ID, and then tell UIKit how to make a new one when it asks. That's it. Okay, so how do we actually put this partnership into action? Let's get practical. It's a really straightforward four-step process. Here's our roadmap. First, we enable the feature. Second, we give the app the green light to actually save and restore. Third, we teach the app how to recreate our view controllers from scratch. And finally, the most important part, we handle the specific data for each screen. Let's break them down. Step 1 is basically just opting in. All you do is assign a string, a restoration identifier, to any view controller you want UIKit to remember. Think of it like putting a unique name tag on each screen. That name tag is the key that unlocks this whole process for that screen.
Next up, we have to flip the master switch for the entire app. Over in your app delegate or your scene delegate, the main control center for your app's lifecycle, you'll find a couple of methods. By just returning true from them, you're telling iOS, hey, yep, my app supports state restoration. Feel free to save my state whenever you need to.
Okay, this is where that partnership really comes to life. When your app relaunches, UIKit is going to call this special method in your code. It'll hand you back that restoration identifier, the name tag from before, and say, hey, can you make me one of these? Your only job is to return a fresh instance of that screen. And this brings us to the final crucial piece. See, recreating the screen isn't quite enough. We need to show the right content. So inside your view controller, you'll implement a couple of methods to save and load the specific little bits of data, like a product ID or maybe a user search query, that make that UI state totally unique. All right, we've gone through the 4 steps. Now let's watch how they all come together in a real-world scenario. This is the cool part. So, picture this. Your user navigates to a detail screen for, let's say, item ID number 5. Sometime later, iOS terminates the app. The user, none the wiser, reopens it. Instantly, UIKit kicks into gear. It uses your restoration IDs and your creation code to rebuild that navigation stack. Then, it uses your save and restore code to load that specific item ID number 5. And success! The user is right back where they were, looking at the exact same content with absolutely no idea anything ever went wrong behind the scenes. So what's the big takeaway here? Well, state restoration is a total game changer because it preserves the user's context. It automatically rebuilds those navigation stacks for you, and honestly, it just dramatically improves the user experience. Now, it's not for every single app, of course. A simple utility like a calculator, starting fresh is totally fine. The key is knowing when preserving that context is going to make a huge difference. Implementing this is a huge step forward in really respecting your user's journey and their focus.
but it also opens up a whole new way of thinking about app design. So I'll just leave you with this question. Now that you know how to save a user's place inside your app, what's the next step? How else can you save their time?